Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. This is Tanush. Right. So this is a different kind of video. So I'll be discussing about the transit of Venus, which has happened in the sign of Cancer. Right. So Venus has moved into the sign of Cancer on 6th of August 2022 and will be in the sign of Cancer till 31st of August. Right. So a short stay, and it's just probably 7-8 days. After that, Venus would be moving to the sign of Leo, right? But this stay of Saturn, of Venus in the sign of Cancer has proved to be very tricky, very stressful, and it has impacted people, almost all the people, on different fronts, especially the fronts which Venus governs, right? So it has impacted. So this is just an informational video, so that we'll be cautious and not be stressed out, because that is what is happening, and we can wait for 7-8 days when things would get back to normal, right? So now the sign of Cancer or Karka Rashi is already under tremendous stress, and this started when Saturn moved to the sign of Capricorn or Makar Rashi, right? So when Saturn moved in the month of January, year 2020, to the sign of Capricorn, with its seventh aspect, it started aspecting Cancer, and Cancer is a very soft sign. It represents our emotions, our nourishment, right? It represents our mother, the love of mother, the fulfillment which we get from our mother, right? And many other things, right? It represents our home front. It also represents comforts, right? So many things. And from the time Saturn has actually transited into the sign of Capricorn, so Saturn is aspecting the sign of Cancer with its seventh aspect, right? So now Saturn in the sign of Capricorn, we all know that the Capricorn is considered the tough side of Saturn, wherein Saturn plays a role of a very tough taskmaster, right? So it is here to teach us the life lessons. It is here to make us work extremely hard, and here Saturn actually shows us our boundaries, right? So Saturn says that these are your boundaries, and you need to actually work within your boundaries, right? So it shows us the ground reality. It also shows us our boundary, and if we have to break the boundaries, we need to work extremely hard, be disciplined, be organized, and only then Saturn will let us break the boundaries. Otherwise we'll have to remain in the boundary, as we have to understand that these are my boundaries, and I cannot cross the boundaries, right? So that is what Saturn does. And Saturn is also a cold planet, so we'll discuss about that later. Now Saturn is a slow moving planet, right? So from the point Saturn came in the sign of Capricorn, because Capricorn is a tough sign of Saturn. So those of you who are actually running either Moon Mahadasha or Saturn Mahadasha, right? So you might have actually felt the heat. Things might have slowed down considerably. Lot of issues, lot of problems, so specific problems can be discussed based on the ascendant, but I'm not going to get into that, right? Now Saturn is a very cold planet, and when it actually aspects the sign of Cancer, it actually removes that emotional quotient from the sign of Cancer, right? So people will feel that they are not getting that emotional support, that nourishment which they expect, right? So that is about the sign of Cancer. Now Venus, we all know Venus is a sign of love. It is a sign of relationship. It represents our spouse. Specifically in the chart of males, it represents their wife, right? It represents the comforts, right? It represents traveling, enjoying life, gratifying our senses, so many things. It also represents fulfillment, in life, right? And when Venus actually moves to the sign of Cancer, it's quite emotional, it's quite happy there, because it gets that nourishment from the sign of Cancer, right? So in general, if there is no malefic aspect, then Venus is quite comfortable there. Venus actually tries to enjoy all the comforts, because Cancer is a fourth sign in the natural Kalpurish Kundali, and fourth house represents all the comforts, right? Our home front, comforts, nourishment, mother, and everything, which Venus actually likes, right? Now, when Venus came into the sign of Cancer, it came with that expectation that, I'll get nourished, I'll be quite happy here, right? And I'll get that emotional support here. But the sign of Cancer was already afflicted by Saturn. And when Venus came there, Saturn started aspecting Venus as well with its seventh aspect. And when Saturn actually aspects Venus, what happens is that, it creates a type of dryness, because Venus is all the comforts, as we discussed. Venus is comforts, nourishment, enjoying life, spouse, right? Relationships, right? So all those things are, and the fulfillment is represented by Venus. Now, Saturn here actually is trying to take out those qualities from Venus. It's trying to impose a quality of coldness into Venus, and Venus is surely afflicted here, right? And what I've seen is, I talk to many people. So what I've seen in my experience is that many people are actually afflicted, and people, especially those who are running the Venus Mahadasha or Venus Antardasha, or Saturn Mahadasha, Antardasha, or even Moon Mahadasha, they are actually feeling that heat, and which fronts, that depends upon your ascendant, right? So I'm not going to get into that, because it's already, we have crossed half the mark, and after 7-8 days Venus would be moving out of the sign. But I have seen relationships being impacted. That coldness of Saturn has actually inflicted Venus, and people are actually not very happy in the relationship. Not only that, because Saturn is creating the boundaries even for Venus, people are thinking that not all, but I have seen people who are newly married. So this is happening with them. They are feeling that, this relationship is actually imposing boundaries upon me, and I am not going to be happy here, because I don't like restrictions, because Venus doesn't like restrictions, right? So Venus is enjoying the life to its fullest extent. So whichever fronts Venus represents in your chart, those fronts will be afflicted. For example, for Gemini, Venus is the lord of 5th and 12th house, right? So Gemini people might feel that heat, in their relationship with their spouse, with their loving exchange with their spouse, exchange with their children's, issues in learning new things. If you're a student, some issues, like, you'll have to put in a lot of effort to learn things, right? Also, you might have encountered losses during this period. Travel a lot, which doesn't give you any fruits. So unnecessary travels, we can say. So all those things people might have felt. So depending on what is your ascendant, it all depends on that. Like, for example, Aries ascendant, Venus is a lot of 2nd and 7th house, right? So they might have experienced issues with the family, with the savings, some health issues with the partner, right? So it depends upon your specific ascendant or lagna. So now we have already crossed the 50% mark, and it's just 1 week left. So if you are facing this kind of issues, just wait for 1 more week and things would ease off. Now, this impact of Saturn, especially the retrograde Saturn, which brings in a lot of karma, aspecting Venus in the sign of Cancer, has actually afflicted a lot of movie actors. And we are seeing the trend especially in India, right, wherein in Bollywood people are boycotting some movies. So Now here, why this is happening is Saturn also represents our past life karma, and especially when Saturn is retrograde, it brings in the past life karma quite fast, right? And we have seen that people or actors who have done something wrong in the past and who thought that they have got away with it, now the same thing has come to them, after a lot of years. So it is due to the aspect of Saturn, retrograde Saturn on the sign of Venus, because movie stars are represented by Venus, right? So that is the reason we are seeing so much of turmoil, especially in India, right, in the Bollywood industry. And I think it would ease off probably after Venus changed its sign, but it has already impacted, and probably it might go on for quite some time, the impact basically, right? So guys, these were my thoughts. I just wanted to convey the information. So I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my channel, please subscribe to it, right? Thank you so much.